Okay, today we are going to work on creating a listing. So I typically will start by looking up the item, whether that's in the store when I'm trying to run comps, or if I just have an item at my house that I need to look up. So what I will do is I will start in the search bar and I will type in what I'm looking for. So right now I have a Pier 1 Imports World Market 2018 ornament. So I will hit enter and that will bring up the listings. Some of these, that one's kind of like what I have there, but some of these are not exactly the same. Okay, that one's closer as well. And you know what? We're going to put hand painted in here. That will help narrow down closer to what I have. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down and we're going to hit the sold option. And this is where we can see what has sold. So this is what I'm looking for right here. So $22.95 with free shipping and $17.99 and they pay shipping. And then we got some others. Oh, look at this guy. He sold it for $5. He did it on an auction. So he only had one bid. So that was his minimum bid, and that's what he got. You typically do not want to use the auction unless you have an item that's rare and that there's a high demand, but there is low supply. There's none listed. Otherwise, you're going to leave some money on the table, and sometimes a lot of money. So he basically left $12 on the table. So I'm going to choose that one and I hit sell like that. And then what it does is it just creates a copy of that listing. I will need to add my pictures later, which I will do from my phone. I find that easier. And then I'm now going to review the title, make sure everything is how I'd like it. There was an extra space in there, so I took it out. And this is where you can click on these boxes and it will fill the information in down below for you. Just make sure it's accurate information. I use the custom SKU to put where I have my item located. And since I'm not ready to list this yet, I don't have that information yet, so I will not put it in. And then we're just going to check all this information to make sure it's accurate. You don't want to assume that it's all right, because sometimes that will hurt you in the end. Okay, and everything so far. Okay, I remove all measurements because I include photos of the measurements. That way they can get as detailed in the measurements as they want. So this is used, and I know it's in good pre-owned condition with no flaws noticed. So I will go ahead and put that information in there. And we're going to put the price that we saw earlier, which was $17.99. And this is, we're going to put our measurements in. And I don't have that yet, so we'll scroll down. And then we hit save for later. And that is how I create a draft. And so you will see that I have several here without pictures, and that's kind of how I get those started. So now we're going to take one of my drafts that I had started and I've added the photos, and we are now going to finish the listing. And we're going to choose these Easter wooden shelf sitters, and we'll hit resume draft. And you'll see I have my photos in there now. And my title should be accurate because I should hopefully have already looked at that, but we will give it another look. And this said handmade, and I don't know for certain these are handmade, so I'm going to remove that. And I'm just going to put vintage. I only want to put handmade if I know it's handmade. I don't want to sell something inaccurately. Everything else looks good. The granny core and cottage core are just style keywords that people can search. So since this fits that aesthetic, we'll put them in there. I added mini because these are small. I'm going to put my custom SKU in where I have these items located, which is DDM1. And I have this under holiday in my store category. Since I pay for an eBay store, I can have separate categories for my items. Just going to check everything here. I'm going to unmark that handmade. And then I'm going to put the condition, good pre-owned condition, no flaws noticed. And then I will come up here, and I try to remember to do this at the beginning, but I will copy this information because I will go and paste it down below in the description box. Okay, and then I also keep a spreadsheet for all my inventory. So I will also, when I paste there, come over here, I'll put my location, I will paste the title, I will put how much I paid for these, which is 86 cents. And then I will put the date that I am listing the item. So this is how I keep track of all my inventory. And maybe I will do a video on my spreadsheet later, but then I also track my sales by month on separate tabs. Okay, back to the listing. So now I'm also going to copy and paste the condition, and put that down below as well. I already had my price in from when I created the draft. Scheduling you can do, like if you're going on vacation and you want to set it up ahead of time, you can do this. Just change your date and your time. Be mindful that it's Pacific time. So that can alter the date when it's going to actually list for you if you are not careful. I'm in Eastern time, so it's 3 hours difference. Okay, let's put our weight in, and these weighed 2 ounces. So I'm going to want to change that from 1 pound. But I also want to keep in mind that I do have a box and packing paper, and I'll probably put these in a baggie. So I will take that out, and then I will put what I think it's going to weigh with all that other packing material in. And then I think I'll probably go in like a 7 by 5 by 3 box. I think that's the biggest box I would use for them. And I always put the biggest box size that I think I will use. And that way, if I use smaller, that's okay. But your pricing that the buyer pays is based on weight and dimensions. So that's why I try to always put the smallest or the largest box I would use, so that way I'm covered. And because if I were to put 7 by 5 by 3 and then I put it in like a 12 by 6 by 6, that's going to cost me more money. So my preferences are already preset, so I don't have to worry about anything here. It's already set for all my listings to populate the same way. I don't accept returns. Paperwork, I've only used it once, and that's when I sold a vintage game. I had to look up a manual to learn how to play it so I could even test it. And so since I had already done that work, I went ahead and linked a to that website for that manual, so the buyer did not have to do that. Okay, and then I do promote all my listings. I do it at the minimum 2%. And I do that because when you promote your listings, you are higher in the search results than somebody who does not promote. So I promote it too. If somebody were to promote at 5, they would be higher in the listing than me. But I'm fine with just the 2%. Okay, and now that we have everything done, we can go ahead and hit the list button. And then that will pop up a window. Typically, I would hit done, but we are going to view the listing so you can see what the buyer sees. I'm going to scroll down because the buyer doesn't see that top part. That's kind of just ours. Ooh, went a little fast. Let's go back up. Okay, here's what they see. And so they see your title, they see your name, your price, and then your condition here. And so you can see where that information is important. You did need to disclose as much as possible in that box. And then you can see the pictures. Oh, and yes, make sure you put as much information in the box as possible. Any flaw at all, you want to notate it. You don't want to assume that they're going to pick it up from the picture, because sometimes people don't look at all the pictures, and that can still come back and on you, because they can just do an item not as described. So I'm showing here the pictures that I did. I did the front and the back, and I do a measurement of each item because they were different heights. And then the information that we put in the description is down below, but right here you can see where it shows what they will pay for shipping and where the item is located and when they can expect to get it, and that I do not accept returns. So down all the way down here is where the description box populates. So that's why I try to put as much information above as possible. And if somebody is actually using their mobile device, they have to click on a button to even see this information. So disclose as much as possible about the condition in the condition box versus the description box, because that is where, and sometimes if there are multiple flaws, I'll even put like asterisk, read in all caps asterisk. And sometimes you can even put read in the title so they will hopefully then read the description and don't just assume anything either. So I'm going to show you how we get to the drafts. I have not showed you that yet. So we go to my eBay and selling. And this is what I like to call my home screen. This is where I typically leave my screen most of the time. And that just gives me more information. And if you go to listings, and then that's where you get drafts. If you wanted to create a listing from scratch, which I haven't done, and maybe I'll do a video on that in the future. So you can also see the active, which is currently listed, and then you have your drafts and your scheduled for when you're on vacation or ended, which is typically from an auction or if you end an item yourself. And so this setup is based on having a store. So these are the little widgets or whatever that you can set up and shows the information for your account. If you do not have a store, it will look very different and listings are different. So I will create a different video for that in the future. But anyways, I hope this has helped you today. If you'd hit like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And as usual, have a great day. Until next time.